It's freezing today, but we're down here and we're pushing on with the Civic FN2 Type R. I've skipped a little bit, you'll see here, there's no wheels on there, there's indeed no back axle on the car. I've skipped on a little bit without you guys just because I was getting a little bit of help and basically I wanted help to lift the axle down, so we kind of just had to push through to get it off, but you didn't really miss much. So you've seen the introduction to this car and you guys have seen the problems we're having with corrosion on the back and a little bit of corrosion on the front. This, to be honest, is a bit worse than I anticipated. So it's just, it happens all the time, so I need to stop buying these. But we're making a track car. We're not just making a track car, we're just restoring a car that we're going to use on the track. So it's going to be a daily that we can take to the track and still drive. It's not a dedicated track car, and the reason that we're doing this and replacing it with standard parts is you guys might wonder why we're going to be fitting some standard parts instead of using this opportunity to fit aftermarket parts and performance parts. And the reason is because I want to demonstrate to you guys that I'm building a car that is an everyday car which you guys will have at home, and then you take it to the track. So we're underneath the back end of this, we're doing a little bit of welding on this, so we're going to be buffing wire wheel, etc., to take all the past under seal and stone guard off and expose any areas that are corroded and need a little patch or repairing. And then we're going to start laying on layers of our own stone chip just to freshen up the back, because currently just now we need it ready for an MOT. And then we've got some mechanical things to do on it, but I'm not going to dwell too long. I'm going to show you guys what's happening underneath. Bringing you guys in for a peek under here. I've been using a wire wheel to start scuffing all this off, to take all the old kind of under seal or stone guard, whatever's been sprayed on, off. To do that, I'm using this wire wheel, and it's very aggressive, and it does just literally rips everything off, and if it's soft and corroded, it will just start creating holes for you and identifying areas in which are going to need rectified. So we've got a big one there, and I've just been running this all the way along the floor. These holes here are standard, don't worry about those. This one here has been ripped open, so we'll need to repair that. And I'm basically just going along all of the floor, buffing it off, finding the weak spots, and then we're going to repair it while we've got the axle and the exhaust off. When you're doing this, guys, dust protection, so like a dust mask and eye protection, is the bare minimum. You don't want to be breathing in all this crappy Honda rust, so make sure you're protecting yourself. It does, within a matter of a couple of minutes, it fills this place full of dust, and then your nose and everything gets all clogged, so make sure you're staying safe. We're going to go round and just wire wheel all of this back end, and then we're going to, once we've identified what we need to do, we're going to cut and weld and where we need welded, and then we're going to start laying layers of our own stone guard down, and then we're going to replace all the tired parts like these I forgot what they are, shock absorbers. We're going to repair all them, we're going to replace all them and get the back axle built back up, which we're also going to wire wheel down and make sure those aren't corroded, because they're quite common for rotting. So we're going to do all that as well, and then rebuild this whole back end, and then we've got the part on the front sill, the ABS sensor, and a couple of other things, and then hopefully we can get this car MOT'd. I realise I've been doing a little bit of work and I've not really been filming. It's quite hard to try and capture everything. The back end's probably a little bit worse than anticipated, but I'm going to show you kind of what's been happening. To be honest, it's been a bit of a pain. There's been a lot of things just not going right. There's bits a lot rougher than expected. Very difficult trying to weld on old cars. You just can't, there's parts where it'll show where it's new metal on new metal and I can get a good weld, and then there's parts where it's just, and it's right awkward in the back here. It's really, really awkward. It's not so bad if you've got a sill and you're cutting up the full length of a sill. That's a little bit better, I would say. Another thing, I'm getting burned and stuff. I've got burns up here, I've got a burnt nose, you can see it, like the skin is drying stuff around there. I've burnt my hand. It's completely torture, it really is, with this old crap. It's nice if you're sitting at a table and you're sitting in your welding, or you're standing in your welding and everything's nice and clean. We've got a sheet there. That's the 3 different types of masks I'm using. So that's the full face, the goggles, and then like the shield. And I'm switching between them, and I'm not really, I have my snood up when I've got the goggles to try and protect, but I've still ended up with a burnt nose. It's been torture, so I'm just going to give you guys, this is what to expect though if you're doing this to your own car, or you decide that quote you got isn't worth it and you want to do it yourself. This is what to expect. It's really difficult. And then you're under there, it's awkward, awkward positions and stuff. I was hoping to record a bit more. I've still got the full beam to do. I'm going to just flip now and show you some of what I was talking about. Just to show you in here, this ended up, this box section needed a new box section, so that's all new and under there's new. Instead of doing it with a fold, I've done it in 2 sections because that bit there is longer than that bit because of the exhaust bracket. So you can see here where I'm welding new metal onto new metal, it's really easy. And then you get like spat and spit and then it blows through. This is all still to be dressed, don't get me wrong, but it's a lot more difficult and it looks very rough. But I'm actually going for strength over beauty in this repair, because guys, it's just really awkward to get clean metal, and I always like to leave a little edge. So if I'm cutting here, example, and I cut that out, I would leave a little edge here for me to catch on with my new metal, but it's just blowing through and everything's rubbish and it's becoming a pain. That there, you can see that all needs dressed back. There was just I just put a little bit of reinforcement on there. It just looked a bit thin. But it's kind of opened up a can of worms. We've got a plate here, plate all the way around here. Then on the other side there's a plate, and then there's a strip up here. That's the part I was talking about. It actually would have been better cutting that whole rectangle off and then making a new kind of box shape out the sheet. It would have been a lot easier. There's a plate in here. There's a big plate in there. And that's going to need replicated on the opposite side. So it's really tough, it's welding above your head, you're getting burned, and it's burned. I could be doing with some better PPE, to be honest. You can see it's slightly better, if you've got kind of better metal onto new metal, but I'm kind of going for strength. I've still got that one in there to fix, that hole there, and I've still got that whole section to run right across there, which I'm going to try and fix on here somehow. I've got some springs here. I managed to pick these up, so that's the old spring there. They're absolutely trashed. I've managed to pick up some second-hand ones that are in good condition for £25 off eBay. Another problem I'm having is the price of parts. I never realised. I thought when I got this for a track car, it would be pretty decent because the parts of everything, there's millions of these in the UK, and it should be so easy to get parts and stuff, but it's just simply not the case. The back axle, as I was saying, the price of parts, so the back axle is £1,000 for the back axle because it's a Type R, and it's because there's a torsion bar runs through the axle, which is like 22mm thick, but if you buy the Type S, it's got like a 10mm thick or a 12mm, something like that, torsion bar. There's a difference in the thickness of the torsion bar, even though it's a beam axle and it's not got independent suspension. But you can pick it up for like £200, and apparently a lot of people are doing that, and then they're fitting like a sway bar or something to compensate, like a white line bar or something, to compensate for that. There is a Euro one now that's a little bit cheaper, it's still like £500. The shock absorbers, those ones, they're no fit for what we're looking to do with the car. Parts need to be reliable. Those are £115 each from the Motor Factors. So that's my Motor Factors is just a general supplier. £115 each for the shock absorbers, £85 each for the springs. We've still got an ABS sensor. I think one of the calipers might be sticking. We've got the back bushes need done. Those were pretty expensive as well. No, they weren't too bad. They still need replaced. So we've got second-hand springs for £25. I've got 2 new shock absorbers coming. So those are going on. We're going to wheel up this back axle. We're going to wheel up the back axle and paint it all and then put it back on. I have smashed it with a hammer to make sure it's no corroded, and it's got a little surface rust. And in the previous video you'll see they had a go at like stone guarding it or something, so all that's going to be wire wheeled off, and then we'll start laying layers of stone guard on it so that it's pretty good. But that's where we're at just now with the Civic. I'm going to keep pushing on. I've got the electrician coming in 2 days time, so this needs to be off the ramp because they're rewiring this whole place, and that's going to be on the workshop diaries type episodes. So yeah, and all this, while doing all this, I've got customers' cars, I've got accounts, I've got parts to get, I've got 3 kids, so it's very, very tough. I appreciate anyone who's taking the time to watch the videos. There's a big build coming up. I can't reveal too much, but we've been working on it as well. It's been a Mission Impossible project. Big restoration pulled out of someone's garden that's not actually mine. So, but I'm been recording on it so I can show that as well. Sorry it's been a bit this instead of work. Just stick with us, guys. The quality's going to come better. I've actually invested. I just can't get a minute right now to start using everything. So, but it's coming. It is coming. So stick with us. Stick with the channel. I know people's asking for the pulsar and stuff like that. It's coming. Don't worry. It is definitely coming. Everything's coming. There's more to come in the Subaru. There's more to come in the Super Turbo. It's coming. It's coming. Trust me. I'm working hard. Non-stop. In fact, look at the bags in my eyes. This is just all for cars. So bear with us and let's get back into this.